Hello everyone, today I'll be mentioning different tricks that you can use as every single class in classic WoW. Most of these things are fairly common knowledge, so if you're an experienced player yourself, you'll most likely not learn anything new. But then I would highly recommend you to post a comment with any tricks that you use as your class. So the first class that I will cover today is the Warrior. As a Warrior, you should get an add-on that indicates your swing timer, so the next time you're going to do an auto attack. This allows you to avoid a lot of damage, as you can use your hamstring, kite the monster, and the moment your auto swing is once again ready, you go back in and do some damage. So you simply just kite with hamstring and do this over and over. And the moment you have killed a target, and if you still have a decent amount of rage, then make sure to use your blood rage followed by first aid. This allows you to keep you in combat to keep your rage, and you heal your character at the same time. When you accidentally pull a lot of monsters, you can also take advantage of hamstring. You just apply this to every single monster, and now your movement speed is way higher compared to theirs. And at level 30, when you unlock Berserker Stance and Intercept, then you can charge or will use Intercept in combat to get even more distance. What's also gonna be important is to get a ranged weapon, so you don't always have to body pull. And make sure never to charge in when there's more than one enemy, else you might accidentally body pull a lot of enemies. And this could cause you to end up dying. And on a hardcore character, this is game over. When you reach level 2 as a rogue, then you unlock your stealth ability. If you spam this ability, you will also break your stealth. Instead, you could always make a stealth macro that you're capable of spamming without even breaking the stealth. So this might not sound that important, but the reason why it is because a macro like this will allow you to also add additional abilities into the macro itself. So now it will immediately turn you into stealth, use stab, or maybe even cheap shot. I know these spells will break your stealth, but it's an easy way to quickly CC a target. Here's a quick example. I run close to the target, I just press one keybind, a stealth, and I zap the target. This can also be done as a druid, so when you're mounted or you're just running around, you will instantly turn into cat form and even prowl at the same time, saving you a lot of key presses and instantly turning you invisible. If you would like to get these macros yourself, then you just need to check the description where you can copy paste it into your own macro. If you ever get rooted by a mage or maybe a PvE target that has a root ability, then you can instantly reform and get out of the root effect. This also applies to different slow effects, for example a frostbolt or any hamstring and whatsoever. You just reform and now you remove the effect. When I level a Warlock, I also like to level up first aid at the same time. I know you have Strain Life and you also have your life tab, but let's say you're low on health and mana, then you could pet pull, apply a few dots and use first aid. That way you get some health, and now you can life tap and get some mana, allowing you to restore health and mana even faster, but also get into combat and level up faster. What I also like to do if I get aggro is to make sure that I just kite around and applying different dots. That way you avoid damage taken, but you still do damage to the target. When I level a hunter, and especially when I don't have a pet yet, then I always do a ranged auto attack, then I move, and once I can once again do an auto attack, I'll continue to do this, allowing me to keep distance and using my ranged weapon. Because as a hunter in melee, you do next to no damage. As you level up your hunter, you will also unlock Eagle Eye, allowing you to scout at far distance. But if you don't use this as a macro, then you can only use it once, and then it will teleport the camera back to your character. But by making a macro, you can continue to spam this and look even further. Especially useful on hardcore if you need to pay attention to any elite monsters patrolling in the area. Maybe there's also two aspects that you always like to use. Yeah, you could keybind each of these, but you could also just make a macro with both of these names in the macro itself. So the moment you activate the first aspect, and if you press the keybind once again, well, then it will use the other aspect. For those of you leveling a Shaman, make sure to always keep any fish oil and even shiny fish scales. This will allow you to either use water breathing and even water walking. And these two things will become handy when you level all the way up to 60 as some quests requires you to go to water environments. What I also like to do when I need to take down a difficult opponent is to use my Frost Shock, and I usually just use rank 1 as this doesn't require a lot of mana, but it still applies the slow effect. Then you could always spawn a Searing Totem to do fire damage to the target as you kite it, and get some distance and maybe use a Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt. When I level a Priest, then I always make sure to apply my shield before I attack the target. Because when your shield is active and when you're casting, then you're not getting knocked back in the cast. But if you don't have your shield applied, then these targets will knock back any of your casts. What I also highly recommend you to do at low level is to level up enchanting and tailoring. Tailoring allows you to craft green items you can disenchant, and then you can craft a level 5 and even a 13 wand. And these will definitely increase your leveling speed, so now you just apply your dots and keep spamming your wand. As a priest, you also unlock Psychic Scream, your AoE fear. This spell is amazing, but when you use it, then these enemies might also run away and accidentally chain pull more enemies. When this happens, it's of course annoying and you'll most likely need to evade. But if you fear targets and they don't body pull anyone else, then make sure that the way that you're moving is not allowing the target to body pull enemies when they're out of the fear. This can be seen right here, where I make the mistake. In WoW Classic, there's a 5-second rule. So when you cast a spell, there will be 5 seconds before you'll start regening mana. This even applies to instant spells, for example a seal or any buff as a Paladin. So when I level up a Paladin, I try to use my seal abilities as I'm moving closer to the target. That way the 5-second rule will apply even faster. And the moment I cast a spell, then I like to use many different spells right after. And then I can start regening mana. Because else you might be using a spell, attacking for 3 or 4 seconds, using another spell, and that way you keep resetting your mana regen. As a mage, you can conjure your own water and food. But instead of having 2 keybinds for this, then you could make a macro with the name of the water and the name of the food. So when you press this ability, you will use both things at the exact same time. So now you don't have to press 2 buttons, and this way you always make sure that when you're either drinking or eating, then you will also be doing the opposite. If you're interested in gold making, leveling guides, but also other tips and tricks for classes and how you can level up faster, then make sure to check out the channel. In the description, you can also find a link to an amazing leveling add-on. And for those of you interested in hardcore, make sure to check the hardcore playlist with many different useful things that will help you reach level 60. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!